Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2, Week 15 Monday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. All right, so for those of you guys in class, this is your third question. Can you find the missing number? So as you guys take a look at each of the circles, 13 and 17 adds up to 30. 17, 7 and 6, 30. 7, 12 and 11, 30. 5, 25, 30, 11, 5 plus what number give you 30? And it's going to be 14. So 14 is your correct answer for this. So what's left of the semester, you guys? This is week, not 14. Let me go ahead and change that. Actually, I'll just cross it out. This is week 15, you guys. And your safety grade is 75%. Final grade is 15% of your grade. It's just like your geometry and algebra 1 final. I don't have any control over. I don't even make it. The state does. And so everybody who's in Washoe County taking this class at Huck High School, McQueen, Galena, Worcester, Sparks, you guys take all exactly the same test. And it's 15%. So if you fail the final, but you have the safety grade, you still pass a class with a 60%. So just keep that in mind. There is no curve in this class. If you get a 59.2%, that is your grade. So I highly recommend that you get up to a 75% before the end of the semester when you guys take your final. There's always room for improvement. If you've been absent, you need to watch any of the videos that you've been missing. If you're like, I don't know what day I was absent for, go to Infinite Campus. Everything is based on weeks. You guys have week 1 to week 15 now, right? So looking in those weeks, which of those weeks do you have the lowest score on? And if you have like a 6 out of 10 on something, watch the video from that week, jot down the notes, turn it in to me, and I can boost your grade. Does that make sense, you guys? So there's always room for improvement. Now's the time to do it because you really don't have that much time left. So today is the 25th. This is week 15. Next week is week 16, 17, 18, 19. We only have 5 more weeks left. After the 5 weeks is week 20, which is in yellow. That is your week of your finals. And then that is it. Last day of school is June 7th, and we kind of conclude your junior year, and then you're going to be seniors next year, and that's all the time we have for, okay? So last class when I saw you guys, I had you guys cut out a few things, glue them. It was like a culmination of the differences between linear, exponential, absolute value, and quadratic. So in this class, we have gone over, well, I didn't go over it with you guys because I wasn't your teacher semester 1, but you should have gone over linear. We went over absolute values and then quadratic. And then right now we are on exponential functions. So that was a nice little activity, kind of put everything together so you can see exactly where you guys are. And then I had you guys have a little bit of notes on this where you had to do like a little fill in the blank. So if you're absent for that, make sure you guys watch the video for week 14 Friday, and it's already on YouTube. So you should have that. And then you guys turn that in. So as long as you turn it in, I just give you guys like a check or a check plus or a check minus. If you have a check minus, it means that you didn't complete it 100% of the time. And so make sure you understand the differences there. So this is week 15, and so I'm gonna go ahead and open up your Math Excel as well. Now on your YouTube channel, there are 66 videos, and the very last video that I updated, Machine Gun Kelly is not part of it. My little boy went ahead and added that on there, is on week 14 Friday, which is right here. It's about 28 minutes. So if you were not here that day, make sure you guys watch the video so that way you get caught up. Okay, so next thing, if you look at your grade book, everything is by tenths, right? It's never like 100%. It's usually something out of 10. This is important for you guys to notice because if you never show up, you get a 5, so it's a 50%, okay? But if you do show up and you take a nap in my class and you don't turn anything in because you're taking a nap or looking at your phone, you get a 55%. Still not passing, but there's a difference. If you do show up and you turn things in, but it's not completed, it's a 6. It could also be a 7, depending on the evidence I see from the stuff that you turn in. But if you never turn anything in, you're like, but you're here, you're stuck right there, okay? Because there's nothing for me to grade, you know what I mean? Or you can get an 8, Now, if you complete everything and you make a little bit of mistakes, that's where you get the 10 or a 9. But this is the rubric of how I grade things, just so you guys know where you are. Okay. If you don't pass a class, you're going to end up taking this class alongside with another math class next year. So you have 2 math classes, and you don't want that. I mean, you can still get to the 75% safety grade in 5 weeks, you guys. You know, you just have to do the work. You don't have to be good at math to pass this class. You just have to put in the work. Okay, so today we're going to talk about exponential models. We're about 1 day behind, so that's not too bad. We should have been this on Friday, but you know, we were worrying about other stuff. So we're going to talk about this week, and then we will go ahead and move on from there. In addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and open up your Math Excel for this week. So for those of you guys on Zoom, you just go to Washoe County School District. Type in Math Excel on the Google search bar. You're going to go to sign in and then scroll down to Algebra 2. Make sure you click on Math Excel, not Envision, because that doesn't take you anywhere. And I'm going to go to the assignment manager for this week, and let's go ahead, go to unassigned. And it's going to be on exponential models. And so I will click on that. I'll go ahead and click on edit. And it's just going to be week 15, Math Excel, exponential models, and then just Dr. NataliaCallahan. And I could put maybe practice. Actually, no, I will just put Math Excel. There we go. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Go back. Algebra 2, semester 2. There you go. There are 10 questions for your assignments this week, as like all the other weeks. And it is going to be due, today's the 25th. And so it'll be due May 1st by 11 p.m. And anything that you worked on last week, I will be updating this Wednesday. So that way you guys have your grade updated every single week. And I just like it because then it's organized and you know exactly what is due. Okay, so then if you go to assign and scroll down to the very bottom, you'll be able to see week 15 right here. No, I don't like that. Let's see. How do I move that back? Here we go. Scroll down to the very end. Here we go. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. This is kind of like the rest of the semester. So I want you guys to take a look at it. So after that, we're going to start off with properties of logarithms. So right here, it's not easy, but you know, you guys are a smart class and I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible for you to understand with different activities and whatnot. Then we're going to go on to exponential equations. And then after that, it's just review for finals. And then you guys take the final. When we're doing the review for final, I will give you guys like a practice final that the state actually release, and we'll go over every single question on there. So that way you can understand like the level of difficulties of those questions in comparison to the actual final. All right, so for week 15, this is what you need. Today we're going to talk about modeling exponential functions, day 1. You're going to grab my notes on who will be a millionaire. I have a Google slide activity match. I have a Desmos, we get to it, and then an exit ticket. So the only thing you need is a handout and an iPad. So come on up, guys, and grab a handout. And then I have the iPads right here. So if you need the iPads, grab that. And again, you will have to turn this back into me so that way I know you completed it. And if you don't turn anything in, if you're here, I'll give you 55%, but I can't really, you know, assign you a grade because I don't really know what you did. So just make sure you guys turn it in on your way out. And the way I see it is if you have to be here, you might as well do the work. And that way you can at least pass with, you know, a passing grade. Okay, so we're gonna start off right there. Who will be a millionaire? You might want to rotate your paper over so that way you can see a little bit better. Okay, so take a moment, read the story about Greta, Trisha, and Steve. Underline the important information. Okay, so as I'm reading this, a few of the things that kind of like opens to me is that Greta is investing $2,000 into an account. It promises a 10% growth every year. That's Greta. Trisha is investing $1,000 into an account, and it promises 15% growth every year. And the very last person is Steve, and he's investing $2,000, and it promises 5% growth every year. So part A, before you guys do anything else, I want you guys to do a prediction. So just give me like 2 sentences. Who do you think will become a millionaire first? Why did you choose that person? So just go ahead and write your response down. And it's not right or wrong. It's just if you do it, you get the check mark for it. Okay, so then for part B, it says write an exponential equation to represent the person's money over time. Okay, so with your exponential equation, remember it's usually always there's an A right there, and there's a B, and then there's an X, right? This B, if B is going to be bigger than 1, it's going to be a growth. If the B is smaller than 1, it's a decay, right? But this is growth because your money is going to be going up, obviously. So for Greta, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put Y is equal to how much money is she initially investing? The A is always the initial. The B is the multiplier. So Greta's investing $2,000, so that's her initial. Then her multiplier is always going to be, and you want to write this down, 1 plus the decimal. Okay, it's always 1 plus a decimal. Well, she's going to be doing 10%. So what is 10% in decimal? If you're not sure, always take 10 divided by 100, which is 0.10. So then 1 plus 0.10 is 1.1, and then to the X. And the X is always time. Like how many years is it going to be? But I don't know because, she's investing this and it's just going to keep going. Now let's take a look at Trisha. So for Trisha, Y is going to be equal to, she's investing $1,000. So put 1,000 right there. And it promises to be growing 15%. So if you think about it, 15% in decimal is 0.15. So Trisha's is 0.15 to the X. And then let's take a look at Steve. He's our last guy there. So for Steve, Y is equal to, he's going to put $2,000. And his percent growth is 0.05 because 5 divided by 100 is 0.05. So when you add it, it's 1.05 to the x. So you guys have 3 different equations. Who's going to become a millionaire first? You should think about, I noticed that Greta and Steve both put in $2,000, which is a lot more than Trisha. But then Trisha also has a higher multiplier because she has a 1.15, which I forgot the 1 because that makes a difference. Whereas Steve and Greta have like 1.01 and 1.1, or 1.05 and 1.1. So who's going to be a millionaire first? Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to come over to this table right here. Okay. And first thing you notice is that your years is on the bottom. And notice it starts at 0. Then it goes to 20 years, then 40 years, and then lastly 50 years. Those are how many years it's going to be. And if that's how much money they start off with, like just a measly $2,000, how long is it going to take for them to become millionaires? And if you look at the money side right here, do you see where the million is? Million is where you have 6 zeros. That's when you become a millionaire right there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these equations and I'm going to put it into my graphing calculator. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my calculator. You guys can just kind of like follow along with it. That's totally fine. So here is my graphing calculator. And let's graph this, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is in blue, it is going to be Greta. So for Greta, I'm going to put just 2,000. And then parenthesis, that's 200, there we go, 2,000. 1, this thing needs to go away, 1.1, and then the caret, then x, okay? Graph. It's thinking, it's a little slow. Wow, this is really slow. Holy cow. Okay, so far I don't see anything there. Maybe it's because my window is not wide enough. So I'm going to go ahead and change my window a little bit. I'm going to make it so that my window matches this graph. And do you see how the x min, it's at 0? But then the x max, it needs to be at more than 10 because mine is at 50. And then the y min is going to be at 0. And the y max, it's going to be at like, you want 1 million. So maybe let's just put 100 or like, let's do 110 million. So let's do that. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There you go. And let's hit graph. Oh, there it goes. So there is Greta. So if you take a look at Greta, she's the blue right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and find out Trisha, what she's going to have. So Trisha is going to be red. I'm going to put 1,000. And then I'm going to put 1.15 to the x. And she's red. So then take a look at Trisha. I don't know about you, but it looks like Trisha's income or her growth is actually going a lot faster than Greta's, which is in blue. Okay, so the red is Trisha. And then let's take a look at Steve. So if I go ahead and graph Steve, Steve is going to be in purple. And I'm going to put $2,000. And then 1.05 to the x. And graph. So you have Greta in blue, Trisha in red, and now Steve is going to be in purple. So you could barely see Steve, but he's right there on the very bottom and he's making the less amount. So when I draw this, you guys can just use your pencils. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this so that way this one is Steve. Steve is barely right here. This is Trisha. And then last one in orange, I'm gonna put Greta. Greta's was like right there. So just with your pencil, just go ahead and color it in. Or not color it, but maybe like, you know, draw it and then label it. So if I didn't have a color pencils, I'm just gonna put this one is Trisha. This one is Greta. And poor Steve is all the way down here. So why did I have you guys do this? Obviously, there's numbers here that's going to determine who's going to get more money, right? And that number is always going to be the multiplier. So it's the number inside the parenthesis. If you have a bigger multiplier like Trisha, because hers is 1.15, you will always earn more money that way. Okay, so when you guys get started with like banking and investments later on in life, I actually teach prob and stats next year as a senior. And all we do for one of the units is we talk about investments. Like if you put in $500 in 40 years, if you get 12% interest rate return annually, you can become a millionaire in 40 years just with that measly $500. You know, so we talk about things of that nature. So if that's something that you might be interested in, make sure you sign up for prob and stats. So then part C, it says, Greta tells Steve he did not invest his money well. Steve says the percent growth is not a big deal. He says that in 10 years, we will both have a lot more money. You will just have 5% more than I do. Show Steve why his statement is incorrect. Okay, so Greta, sign out. So Greta, obviously, if you look at this, is making a lot more than Steve. Steve is not very smart. So he's thinking that he is going to make money, and even though he's probably not. So in 10 years, if you take a look at this part right here, Greta will have $5,187. So in 10 years, which is right here, Greta will make $5,187.48. Okay, so G for Greta. Well, let's see how much money Steve's gonna be. So if you want to like deselect it, because Steve is at the very bottom, I'm gonna hit enter to deselect this. So that way I don't have like 3 graphs going at the same time. So here is Steve. And then you just hit second, trace. And you hit 10 for 10 years. If you look at it, Steve is only going to be making $3,000. So then here I'm going to put Steve is equal to $3,000, $257.79. What you're like, okay, well, that's not like that big of a deal. You know, it's in 10 years and it doesn't look like it's that much more, you know, but it does make a difference because here's the thing. What if in 50 years, how much is this going to be? So if I grab my calculator, I have second trace, and instead of 10, I'm going to put 50. So in 50 years, Steve is going to have $22,934. And this is in 50 years. Okay, so 50 years is right here. Steve is right there. He's going to have $22,000. Okay. What about Greta? How much is Greta going to have in 50 years? So you go back to your calculator, you go back to the Y, and you want to go and deselect or unselect Steve. So that way you can go back to Greta, and Greta's right there in blue. I'm going to hit graph. And if I look at this, Greta is somewhere up here, you know, which is not super further than Steve, but, you know, significantly still bigger. So second trace, I'm going to type in 50. And if you look at Greta, she's going to have 23,000, or I'm sorry, she's going to have 243,781. So that's quite a bit of difference, right? I mean, like that's a huge jump in 50 years. So then let's take a look at the person with the highest, which is Trisha, because Trisha had the 1.15 growth. So in 50 years, where's Trisha going to be? So grab my calculator, I go to y equals, and I want to deselect Greta, go back down and select Trisha, hit graph. So second trace, I'm going to type in 50 for T or for X. And then Trisha is going to be a millionaire. She's going to have 1,083,657. So take a look here, you guys. So in 50 years, Steve, who's like, oh, it's only going to be 5% difference. It's not a 5% difference. Trisha's going to be a millionaire. Greta is going to be a quarter millionaire. And Steve is going to get stuck with just $22,000. So even though at the very beginning, the $2,000, $1,000, $2,000 investment seems like it's different. And if you look inside the multiplier, like 1.1, 1.15, 1.05, that doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference, but it's a huge difference. And this is how you model exponential growth. So if you like money and you're good with money and you want to become a financial advisor later on in life, you'll be working a lot with models like this. You know, I mean, I know I say money and you guys all perk up with your ears and stuff. But to be good with money, you have to be good with math. But if you're interested in things like this, take prop and stats. It's a little bit harder than algebra 3, but not by that much, you know, but I feel like you get so much more out of prop and stats than you do with algebra 3. All right, so part D says, create a graph that shows all three accounts, identify when each person becomes a millionaire. So you guys have a graph right here. Unfortunately, I don't think Steve is gonna become a millionaire. But what I do have is that Trisha will become a millionaire in 49 years. Okay, so around 50 years, and you know, she hits her million. Greta will go ahead and become a millionaire after 65 years. And poor Steve, it's going to take him 127 years to become a millionaire. So when you're shopping around for a bank account that gives you a return on your investment of $1,000 or $2,000, it's really important that you know how this model works. All right, so now that we have seen the modeling of exponential functions, which I feel like is really important, especially if you like money and you want to like invest money and save money and become millionaires later on. Now I'm gonna have you guys take a look on the right side right here. So you can switch your paper and rotate it by 90 degrees. And with your cell phone, okay, you're going to go ahead and fill out this table. There are 18 questions and there are 4 columns. First one is numerically, then algebraically, graphically, and verbally. So you're going to be doing a little bit of matching on this Google slide. So with your cell phones, you're going to go to this QR code and you'll have everything at your fingertips. And I thought that you guys don't need a calculator, but I totally lied. You do need a calculator, so come on up and grab a calculator. Sorry, I was like thinking maybe we didn't need it, but no, you do need it. So grab a TI-84 calculator so you can graph it and match them together. And keep in mind on your common district final, you can use a calculator, which is great, but you got to know where the buttons are, because if you don't know where the buttons are, you won't be able to use it, unfortunately. Okay, so once you guys get onto the QR code right here, you're going to be able to see the matching part. which looks like this. Do you guys see the questions 1 to 9 or 1 to 18 right here? So these are the equations for the 18 questions, okay? And so for your first column, it should be really easy because for number 1, it just is y equals to the x minus 2. So on your paper, you can just go ahead and type in 1, y equals to the x minus 2. That's what I'll write, okay? And then you have numerically, graphically, and verbally. So then what you want to do is you're going to go back to this. And if you go to the next page, do you see where it says numerically? How would you go ahead and match that equation to each of these tables? Now, you could do one of several things. So I'm going to show you guys on the calculator. So on your calculator, we're going to go and clear everything off. So if yours is not cleared yet, please do so. Okay, so then I'm going to go up. I'm just going to type in 2 to the x. Use the little right arrow button to bring your little cursor down. Minus 2. So that's how I type it in. And then you're going to hit graph. Now, granted, my Windows is going to be looking really bad because obviously I changed it. And if you look at the answers right here, do you see how the Windows, it's like 5 to the left, 5 to the right? So I'm just going to go ahead and change it to -5 to +5. And then if you look up and down on the graph, do you see how it's like 5 and 5 as well? So -5 and then +5. Graph. So then if I look at my graph right here, do you see how it touches a -1 and the +1? So then on your graph, which one looks like it touches a -1 and the +1? I don't know about you, but it kind of looks like Q, doesn't it? So then if you go back to your answer, graphically, it's at Q as in Quentin, which is the name of my second child. All right, so then you have numerically and verbally. So for numerically, you're like, okay, I have charts here. So then I'm gonna bring back my TI-84. And then do you see where it says table right here by graph? So hit second, graph, and then you bring these tables down, right? So your job is to match the table with the table here on your one particular graph. And when I look at my table, when X is 1, my Y is 0. So you want to look around where on your table says when X is 1, Y is 0. And I don't see any of them there. Oh, no, I do see it. Just kidding. And then also, if you're like, okay, I need to go up a little bit to negative. If it's -1, my table is -1.5. So which one has a negative X as -1 and Y as a -1.5? I don't know about you, but it kind of looks like A is good, right? So then I go back over here and I just put A as an apple for numerically. So then lastly, it's verbally. So then we're going to take a look at our thing again. So right here where it says verbally right there. Pick one that matches that. And I don't know about you, but my graph, it's at 0, -1 for the y-intercept. And so it's probably be number 20. So I'm going to go back here and just put 20. And that's all you do. So I want you guys to go ahead and go on to number 2, graph it, find the numerical, graphical, and verbal of number 2, and just continue until you're done with number 18. Okay. You guys have about 15 minutes in class. So I think you'll be able to do just fine. So go ahead and get started with that.